Hi guys. Sorry, let me concentrate. Make sure I don't smash into another car or a pedestrian. I'm just going to Morrison's here where my friend lives. Oops. Sorry about the angle. So I was looking at some news today. There's another asylum seeker, criminal. Sorry, asylum seeker. Yeah. Some people call them migrants or refugees. This guy apparently, this beast, apparently. The accused, yeah, you know it's him. He K-worded a 19-year-old girl, and this beast was either an asylum seeker and shouldn't really be in the country anyway, and he was involved in the murder, homicide or whatever, a racist murder, where a man, he was chased, and these guys were calling him a white bastard. They chased him, they beat him up, and then they threw him into either a canal or river or something. And so these guys were convicted of that racist murder. Obviously, they didn't give him enough time. This guy was out after a few years or whatever. And he went on to commit another crime. Kill a white girl, a white woman. Stabbed her in the neck, I think. There was apparently also another stab in the neck of another woman. So you have to be careful, but I just assume it's another one of these asylum seekers or non-documented human beings. Yeah. I'll give you a fucking document. If I was in power, I'll give him a document, all right? A document to leave the fucking country. You know what I would do? These people, don't execute them. I'd let them, free, right? Naked, completely naked. And the only place you can run is through a forest of fucking really high stinging nettle, with all my dogs, a pack of German shepherds, hungry ones behind him. He's gonna have to run into that fucking forest. Could you imagine? That's if they've got balls, but they don't have any. So anyway, yeah, it's annoying, you know. If you're thinking about transcendence and things like that, you just have to do like those people say they do. I don't know if they actually do. Men go in their own way. MGTOW. Just buy a house in the countryside and watch society burn down. You know, I feel so sorry, and that's how you're supposed to feel when you watch these videos. They're supposed to be alarming. They're supposed to upset you and trigger you. What it does is it bloody triggers your immune system to go down for you to be emotionally and mentally affected, to become anxious, to become fearful, to become sad, angry. I don't want that. I feel sad, but who's to say that a lot of these women that are getting K-worded or raped, they voted, or even if they didn't vote for the left-wing policies, they agree with it, you know. Like, man gets divorced by a woman takes all his money and he self-deletes. Do they give a shit? No. Well, Women have been abused for thousands of years. I feel sorry, but did they ever help a man? No. So what goes around comes around, unfortunately. You might hear of a cat being killed by a group of dogs, a pack of dogs, right? You feel sad. But you know that tomcat, when he came home with all proudly came home with a bird in his mouth, or chopped the mouse's head off and ate it alive, it didn't give a shit about the mouse or the bird. So it's a dog eat dog world. Can you feel? You're supposed to feel sorry, aren't you, for these migrants, these asylum seekers? But you don't know what they did in their life. And then some of them, a small percentage, when they come here, even though it's small, it's a sizable one. Oh, not everyone's like that, Gerald. Yeah, not everyone's like that, but all you need is 2 or 3% or something like that. I don't know, a small percentage of Italians committing crime, and everyone will start saying, hey, those fucking Italians are committing a lot of crime, aren't they? They stand out because they're Italian, they look Italian. No, they stand out because in this case they are committing, in this hypothetical example, they're committing a lot of crime, you know. And people in society don't like people who commit crime, rape, murder, like terrorizing people. We don't like them. We, society, we don't like them because it affects our standard of living. We're constantly in fear. We're terrorized. We have anxiety. This affects your body, you know. So there's nothing really you can do because society is going this way. I mean, you can talk about it. You get demonetized and cancelled. So don't talk about it. Live in the country. What I want to do is just live in the countryside and just watch society burn. I wish I was living in America. I'd have a machine gun. Oh, there's a lockdown. There's no food, but you've got land there. We can see that you've got some plants. Give me some fucking food. That machine gun. I wouldn't do that. I'm just joking. But what can you do? You can't do anything. Like this case, why was this guy out when he shouldn't even been in the country? There's some of these guys, they shouldn't even be in the country. They're letting them in because we're tolerant. No, it's because there's a plan underneath this tolerance. It's nothing to do with being tolerant. There's a plan there. It's not as if they're bringing in the best. They're not bringing in like brain surgeons, you know, like Nobel Prize winners, architects, engineers. No, they're bringing people who are not going to bloody work. That are going to commit crime. That's the work that they're going to do. And yeah, this poor girl, 19 years of age. I think the 5th of November she got killed. I think she was stabbed in the neck by a guy who was part of a racist gang. Did you hear about it? No. You won't hear about it. You only hear about it if it's the other way around. Still hearing about like that Saint Lawrence and Saint George Floyd. The guy was a criminal. Both of them like probably criminals. And we're still hearing about how evil Whitey is. Keep you in check, Whitey. Of course there are whites that are evil. There's no point saying that, of course. I was just thinking as well, yeah, some of these lefties, right, I don't like their, well, it's not that I don't like their politics, and some things about the left are nice, you know, being tolerant, being nice to people, kind, you know, you're kind-hearted, you want to help people, You know, when it comes to benefits, you know, a person's not working, they're disabled, you know, try and help them, you know, try and help them with some kind of program to get back into work, you know, that's all really nice. But the extreme is bad. Like, so when I'm talking, there's this guy who works in the Morrisons where I live, not here, and he's the typical like 1970s, 80s Labour voter, like English teacher. You know, he's really nice, very intelligent, and you see, I like him as a person. He's really nice. I talk to him. You can see he's really tolerant, really. In his way of thinking, he's quite flexible. He's, how do you say, malleable? No, that's not the right word. He's a nice person. He's easy to talk to, you know, easy on the eye because he's smiling, and he's a nice guy. He's in his 60s, I think, 70s, and you can see that he's intelligent. He's an intelligent man. Now working in Morrison's. But I don't really agree with his politics. Not that I'm right or left wing, but current lefty politics. So then I know people who are right wing. So I agree more with their politics than the lefties. But these people are not nice people. Fucking rough, intolerant, snobby. They wouldn't help you if you're in trouble, you know. So I'm thinking, wow, am I really a lefty or a right-wing person? And I think I'm neither. I'm not left or right. Some people on the right are so stuck up their asses. They're intolerant. You know, they believe that just because the left, you know, they're very tolerant, very, you know, we're all brothers and sisters. They think that we have to be completely the opposite. You have to be all meat-eating, like carnivore, fucking, like hate every fucking race. They've got it wrong. They've got it absolutely fucking wrong. The left and the right have got it wrong. They have to go back to the basics. Be tolerant of ourselves and everyone else. But once people start taking the piss, notice that and don't allow politics to come in. You know, use your common sense. You know, you might like people from other countries, and if they're real asylum seekers, if you've got the space and you want to accommodate them, fair enough. But there's a flood of people coming in constantly. And the real flood is legal immigration, not illegal immigration. Not these drips of illegal immigration. Well, anyway, what do I care? I don't care. The thing is, when this place is flooded full of like immigrants, then the country doesn't become England anymore. You know, you come to this country. I saw a Sikh. He was talking about, you know, maybe his parents came to this country because they wanted to live in England. Now, if loads of Sikhs come into the country, or loads of Italians, or loads of I don't know, Turks or whatever, it ceases to be England, right? But those lefties say it will still be England, just but with a different flavour. Yeah, Turkish flavour. It's not England. Like, I'm talking for myself. If loads of Italians came, I would love it, but it wouldn't be England. What's the purpose of calling this country England if it's not, you know? I might not agree with drinking, so I might think, what's the point of pubs? Or if you're a Muslim, you don't drink alcohol. What's the point? They should ban them all. No, because this is the English culture. And it's been around for like hundreds of years or whatever. It's part of being English. You know, having the pub, you can have your afternoon meals there, a place where you meet up with people, a public house, you know. I don't go to a pub, but it's part of the culture. It should not be erased. I bet you loads of pubs are going out of business, especially in those like Muslim areas. Who's going to go there and drink? Anyway, yeah, so that's my story today. You know, the story about that girl is amazing, isn't it? you can find these stories almost every day, where another asylum seeker has which basically means a criminal. Because if you break into somebody's country without any visa or any fulfilling any requirement, you just step into somebody's country, you're trespassing. But because when you arrive in the country, then I don't know, you're set through this system or this conveyor belt, and then you have to wait to see if you're processed. Meanwhile, people just like disappear. They disappear. They know that they can come into the country whilst they're waiting for their claim to be processed, which takes years or whatever. They just go and work illegally, do what they want. So because I'll tell you, I would leave England if I can find a better place. Go to Russia. You can't find a better place. England is a good place. You know, and that's why lots of people are coming here. And they're going to make it into a shit place. Why do you say that? How dare you? Because I remember once, my friend Razor, he's from you know, Mauritius, and he's like Indian, like he looks like Indian, you know, Indian kind of, and they have their own language. It's kind of like French. And so we were driving in one of those places where they do the horse racing. Where was it? One of those posh places. And he saw two black guys Africans walking down the road. They looked African. And he said, "Look at them." I said, "What?" And he said, "Look at them. How they lower down the tone of the area." And I thought, fucking hell. I was surprised he said that. Because he was into horse racing, he was into that stuff. And he was with a white girl, I think an Irish girl. And it just made me laugh. And I was thinking, wow, if a white guy said that, he'd be in trouble. But he says it and it's okay. I think we're all racist, you know. And I just didn't know what to say. I just said, "Oh, yeah." I agreed with him, but I was kind of smiling. I was thinking, yeah. What can I say? What can I say? I just kind of gobsmacked that he said it. But in a way, it's true. You know, places like that, if it was full of Africans, then it wouldn't be... I can't remember the bloody place. Name me a few racing places where they race horses. It was one of those posh places. But if it's there full of Africans, the name is still there. Like, I don't know, Chelsea or Knightsbridge, full of Africans, right? Black African guys. Like, some people could say it lowers down the tone of the area. It blackens the tone of the area. It changes. But apart from the colour, like, you have that culture as well. You're not going to have all those black guys that are posh, are you? Unless you do. And then it still wouldn't be Knightsbridge. Come on, let's face it. If you've got all Sicilians living in Knightsbridge, it wouldn't be Knightsbridge anymore. Believe me, it wouldn't. So you'd have good things, like the good things of Sicily, really good, but you'd have the bad things as well. But even if a culture is better, let's say, why change that place? You know, I love the Sicilian culture, but if I want Sicilian culture, I'll go to Sicily, you know? If I want Pakistani culture, I'll go to Pakistan. If I want African culture, I'll go to Africa, you know. I don't know. So basically, it's going to change like was it a place in London near where I used to live? Not Stonebridge. Um, Going towards Wembley. It's a really horrible area. Loads of crime, and I I was told, I was told that in the 1920s or 30s, that was a really posh area that lots of white middle class or even like rich people used to live there. I remember growing up, there was always a shithole. It was near, what was it? Near Willesden, Harlesden. Was it Harlesden? Maybe it's Harlesden, yeah. And you got like West Indians, Jamaicans living there, and crime. You know, not many white. If there's white English people, there's really, really poor ones. Now it's been taken over. Well, the last 5 years, 6 years that I've been away, with Somalian gangs and stuff. Bloody hell! So it's worse and worse and worse and worse. Yeah, I saw this video where this black girl, she was waiting on she's like light skinned girl, nice girl. She was waiting at the bus stop, and one of these Somalians went up to her, and it was a night time. He said, "Oh, he wanted to have a phone number and stuff like that." He said, "Sorry, I don't." She said, "Sorry, I don't know you. I don't want to give you my phone number." And he replied, he goes, "I swear, if you was a man, like if you was a man, I swear, if you was a man." And I think he took out a knife or a machete. "I swear you'd be dead. I swear, sister, if you was a man." That's when you need a fucking machine gun. Yeah, if he was a man, this, boof. But it's not going to happen. You're not going to get, like, the English people are not like that. They are soft as hell. But the reason why they're soft as hell is because they've been brainwashed. So I was watching a video about this case, this asylum seeker who killed a 19-year-old girl. And at the bottom, you see all the comments. "We have to take back our country. We have to fight." You know, they think that voting in someone like Nigel Farage or Rupert Lowe or whatever, they think that these people are not connected with the people or the elites that allow all these people in the first place. So I wrote a comment, probably got banned, cancelled, and I said, the way you fix this problem is to reverse engineer the problem. You don't just vote for people who will be controlled anyway. You reverse engineer it. So how did this problem come about? You've got cultural Marxism, cultural Marxism, yeah, cultural Marxism. That's what it should be called. Yeah. So you've got cultural Marxism that, like a Trojan horse, like a virus in a Trojan horse, came into the country, and then basically, in order to stop all of this, you have to get rid of, or at least diminish, the idea or the power of feminism, LGBTQ, racism. All these ideas, they have to be crushed. If they're crushed, and the straight white male is respected and put on a pedestal, that's the only way that the UK or any country in the Anglosphere has a future. You know, reinstating respect for the straight white male, the normal man, the vanguard, the guardian of society, the guardian of the family. Strengthening like the Christian religion. You were okay until you said that, Gerald. Or at least having some values, some traditional values. It could be pagan, could be Christian, but some traditional values that help the indigenous people, or the people who want to uphold those traditions, like A man is a man, a woman is a woman. Like, there's no doubt what a man and a woman is. You know, illegal immigrant comes into the country illegally, get the hell out. Don't give him any chance to commit any crime. Like, yesterday, I was here, right? I went to the Tesco at night. And I went to pay for something, and I was in the queue. And this guy was before me. You know, he was waiting in another queue, but there was no queue there. He got the wrong queue. So I went to wait in the queue, and then he walked behind me. He realised there was a queue. And I said, "It's okay, you can go in front. You were waiting before me." And he said, "Yeah, okay." And he turned around, like, rudely gave me his back, which is fucking dangerous. Well, not in that way. Not in that way. He gave me his back, and he was on his phone. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. So rude. Like, when I said, "Oh, go in front of me because you were waiting." "Yes, yes." Like that. And then he walked away. He's a small guy, walked away. He looked like a killer. Like he had a gun or something. Like, "Oh, I kill you." Like that. Fucking with a stubble, not Mediterranean, but I don't know, some weird country. And he dressed nice, fucking dressed better than me. And walking away like that, not looking at anyone, like he got these fucking like killers, right? And he walked away, and I noticed that I did my shopping. Well, I just paid for my stuff and my friend, and I walked away, and I saw him get into a small car. It looked like a fucking brand new car. This is ridiculous. Unless he's got friends here, how can these people? They don't know. He didn't know the language. Yes. He doesn't, like, maybe his 30s or 40s, like evil looking. Not just evil looking, evil, like the way he spoke, the way his body language, like not friendly at all. Like, he could have stepped sideways and said, "Oh, thank you," you know. No, he turned around and I was behind him. Fucking hell. But these people, all these people are all front, all mouth. If I ever fucking got angry, they find out what fucking evil is. But I try and tame it down, to damp it down, because I don't want to get into any trouble. Already been in trouble with the police, and I tell you, you don't want to get into trouble with the police, because they're like fucking elephants. They never fucking forget. You're always on their radar once you're known to them. So, and they're part of the system. They're not there to protect you. They're there to uphold the law. If the law is against you, you're fucked. They are your enemy. You know? And so that's the one thing that I can talk about in my future videos. How do we defend ourselves? There are ways. Believe you me, there are ways. But setting up groups, and not setting up groups to bloody go and attack anyone, but just to protect our women, our children, you know, our doggies. Why doggies? Because, did you know, like, I'm going to be, like, I've got 6 dogs, okay? If I had 10 dogs or whatever, I'd be a target, because a lot of these Muslim guys, not normal Muslims, but maybe extremists, they don't like dogs. Is it haram? It's like dirty. So they don't like people with dogs. So I think, like, women should go out at night walking with some little piglets, and so no Muslim will go near them. Yeah, I don't think they're real Muslims. They're just criminals. You know, I don't think a little pig is going to stop a woman from being raped by a gang or a group of these guys. You know, you say, "Gerald, why are you talking about this?" Because this happened to me. You know, this thing happened years ago. Like, you think that the Pakistani gangs or these Muslim gangs weren't around. They were around. In 1983, when I was doing my A-levels. To cut a long story short, a gang, it's not really the gang, but the leader, who funnily enough wasn't even Pakistani, he was Indian, but he was you know, a bad Indian, because usually Indians and Pakistanis don't group together. So yeah, because Indians usually are okay, right? They're not bad people. They're more right wing actually, the Indians. I used to know this Indian guy, a tall guy, and he used to hang around with skinheads. It's so weird. And he used to be proud of it as well. Yeah, my friend is a skinhead, white English man. He's my best friend. so weird. Well, I don't know if it was true. But yeah, this happened to me, and this has been happening for a long time. You know, only now you get to hear, oh, the asylum seekers are doing this and that. They were doing it decades ago. It's just now it's more pronounced. Now they can't hide it. You know, the death toll is something that you can't hide now. Because the English people, they're very keep themselves to themselves. They're not so emotional. If this was in Italy, actually, what am I talking about? It is happening in Italy as well. I was going to say they'd go nuts. But once the government is in on it, and you do something which is against the government's liking, you're kind of like an outcast, a criminal, whatever. You know, so once the government is in on it and is against their own people, what can you do? Most people are law abiding, so they don't want to do anything wrong. They don't even want to go to some kind of rally or event. You know, people just want to work. They want to look after their family, and they don't want to rock the boat. You know, because they have a family. They don't want to go to jail or anything like that. And then what was going to happen to their family, their missus or whatever? I totally understand. So for me, I'd say live in the countryside if you can afford it. Stay away from, if you can, stay away from certain areas. There's a lot of these areas in the UK now that are fast becoming minority white. And, you know, people say, well, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with it. On the face of it, there's nothing wrong with it. If somebody, you know, on paper you say, well, there's this amount of people and this amount of people. This amount of people are non-white and this amount of people are white. What's the problem? On paper, there's no problem. But go and live in those areas. You go and live in those areas. Go and live in Harlesden. Go and live in Willesden. Go and live in, like, in, I don't know, places in South London, East London. You go and live there, and then you'll see what the problem is. All these people that say it's not a problem are those middle-class whites that live outside London, they're outside Birmingham, outside Manchester, in some lovely mansion, some lovely place where, like, gated communities and places like that, where they have security, they have their children, and then they have these lofty ideas for you, but not for them. Anyway, that's my rant for today. All these Pakistanis or black guys watching my videos, you know what I mean. I'm not talking about you. And I can't believe it. You have this program, what is it? Saying that the countryside in England is racist. How can the countryside be racist? Like, trees suddenly are racist. The tree's racist over there. That grass, fucking racist bastard. That stream, you fucking racist. No, but what it meant is, you know, like the community, people outside. The people outside, they don't want any outsiders. Forget about black people or Pakistani or whatever, Chinese. They don't want anyone because they want to. It's the last thing they bloody have. You know, they're not going to go around terrorizing anyone. But when you see someone who's outside the area, you think, uh-oh, it's arrived here now. Of course you're going to have that look. I don't blame them. shouldn't they have something for themselves, at least the countryside? You know you're going to get people saying, there's so much space, let's fill it in with asylum seekers, they need that space. Yeah, so what do you guys think about what happened to that girl? Poor girl, rest in peace. A 19-year-old girl. It's really sad. But unfortunately, probably, I'm not saying anything about that girl because you don't talk about the people who are deceased, but lots of females vote for it or agree with, yes, come inside. Let's be tolerant. Because women are very nurturing, aren't they? And so I understand, but like, you wanted to help other people, but you have to have a kind of filter as well. It's okay to, I mean, I love everyone. I love blacks, I love Muslims, I love Chinese, mixed race. What's there not to love? If it's just the color, I love it. I actually like being around people who are not just one race, you know. I loved living in London. I loved living in China. So I think I'm the last one to be like racist when it comes to just color. Oh, the person's just got a different color. The skin. You do get people like that have never lived with other races, and you just think, the different color, the hands are so black, how can you? And this is what happened in China. In China, people would say, like older people would say, oh, do they have restaurants in England where you have black waiters? I said, yeah. And the thing, one guy said, how can you eat something from a person with a black hand? I thought, fucking, am I going to have to explain this? And I said, yeah, you know, it's they're like normal people, you know. And they said, but it looks so dirty. What can you say? You know, when in Rome, I had to say, well, yeah, it's just different. It's a different country, you know, different way of thinking, you know. And I smiled, and, you know, because it's their reality, it's their culture. Who am I to say they're wrong? I'm not going to say, no, that's wrong. I'll be bloody beaten up because for political correctness. No, I don't think so. Yeah, I wouldn't think like that, you know. People in other parts of the world do still think like that. You know, they're very, should we say the word, racist. But that's why I say, what is racism? I don't give a shit about racism. If you want to be racist, you don't like Italians or Sicilians. I can't stand those bloody Italians. That's racism, but that's your freedom. As long as you don't want to K-word anyone. So if there's a black guy that says, I hate all whites, well, I feel sorry for that person, because hating someone actually hurts you, your body, your mind, your spirit. But if you don't like them because they did something bad to you, or, you know, they're snobby, fair enough, that's fair, you know. We don't have to love whites. It's just like a Pakistani guy might say, I hate all blacks. Again, hate is a strong word. But if you say, I don't want to live around them because there's crime and stuff like that, fair enough, you know. So we're all racist, really. We are all racist. But some of us, most of us, don't go all the way, you know, and want to really hurt another group. I would never want to hurt even a person that did something bad to me. I wouldn't want to hurt, you know, because there's something called karma. It hurts you. You destroy someone, you'll be destroyed eventually. Because I think we have a conscience, and we won't be able to live with ourselves. And there is something called karma. But then I think, all the problems I've had in my life, what the fuck did I do? In my last life, I must have been a killer or a bastard. Because in this life, I don't think I've done anything. All right, guys, that's the end of my rant. But soon I'll be making more, as I said, more spiritual kind of videos on transcendence, where I I have these objects in front of me, or props. For example, a key, don't know, Winnie the Pooh, bear, and I talk about certain concepts of Taoism, life extension, spirituality, something esoteric, about Jesus and the Bible. So something that can make us grow. And occasionally I might show this mug here, and talk about self-defense or what I'm doing, but not talk about anything controversial, because it's getting me in trouble and I don't want it. All right, speak to you guys in another video. Bye.